In the story of Abraham in the book of Genesis, we read a special story where Abraham lied about his wife Sarah. In the story, Abraham was staying as a foreigner in the area of Gerar. Abraham was afraid that other men would fall in love with his wife Sarah and thought, "If they find out that I am Sarah's husband, they will surely kill me so that they can marry Sarah." So Abraham told a lie. He said in Gerar that Sarah was his sister and not his wife. Abimelech, the king of Gerar, saw Sarah and sent a messenger to her and took her away. Then God intervened in a dream with Abimelech. It was wrong in the eyes of God that Abimelech would sleep with Sarah. And because of this sin, God gave a message of disaster. Genesis 20 verse 3 says, "But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, 'Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife.'" Abimelech indicated that he was not living in sin because he had not yet had intercourse with Sarah and that he did not know that she was Abraham's wife. God told him that he knew that Abimelech was upright in heart, and that he would prevent all evil if he would restore Sarah to Abraham, and Abraham would pray for him. Genesis 20 verse 7 says, "Now then, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, so that he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." The next morning Abimelech called Abraham and gave Sarah back to Abraham. Abraham then prayed for Abimelech so that God's punishment would stop. Genesis 20 verse 17 says, "Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, and also healed his wife and female slaves, so that they bore children. For the Lord had closed all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife." The Bible does not say what illness Abimelech suffered from. What is known is that the women in Abimelech's house could no longer have children. Through Abimelech's conversion and Abraham's prayer, Abimelech and the women in his house were healed. We can learn a number of things from this story. 1. In this story, illness is a punishment for sin and not a blessing from God. Because Abimelech unconsciously wanted to sin, he and his house became sick. God did not say, "Abimelech is a holy man, so I reward him with sickness." No, Abimelech's sickness was caused by his sin. For now, it is important to realize that sickness can sometimes be caused by sin. At the same time, sin is not always the cause of sickness. When someone is sick, it does not mean that this happened because of sin. Often something else is going on. We will come back to this in detail in a next video. In addition, God almost never makes people sick. Everyone who was made sick by God received a clear revelation that God is the sick maker. Abimelech knew this through his dream, and through his conversion, he became healthy again. 2. God changed his decision through prayer, allowing Abimelech to live and the women to have children again. 3. God heals. Abimelech and his household experienced the healing power of God after Abimelech repented, and Abraham prayed for him. 4. God helps his children. Even when Abraham made the mistake of lying about his wife Sarah, God remained faithful to him. What a disaster it would have been if God had thought, "I will not intervene because Abraham made a mistake." Then Isaac would never have been born, Israel would not have existed, and the Messiah could not come. 5. God remains faithful to his covenant. God promised that Abraham and Sarah would have a child, and God wanted to fulfill this promise. God only had to correct Abraham's mistake by making sure that Sarah was returned to Abraham. In other words, we can learn that sickness is a punishment or curse, and not a reward or blessing. The sickness had a cause, and it was not God who suddenly thought in his sovereignty. I feel like making Abimelech sick today. This story beautifully illustrates how God heals, even in the Old Testament.